Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Dum, 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 dum. Yeah, it's that guy talking about the daddies, talking about love, talking about family. Are you ready today? We got a beautiful guest in the building. I would call her a doctor, but some people would be offended. I'd call her a nurse, and some people might hate. But today, she's a healer. Ladies and gentlemen, live from EMIY, our executive director, the Honorable Hetheru in the building, talking about love for daddies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love that introduction.
It's all about love.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. That was a good introduction.
Well, thank you. I try. My creativity is so high right now. And so, you know how that go. You know how that goes, subject to anything to pop out. When you're a creative, a visionary, and you got your eyes on the Lord, so anything is possible. So yes, today we're talking about love for the men, the dads. Sisters, pull up your pens and your pencils. Get you some lessons, get you some information, catch you some blessings. Oh, by the way, did you know that the Blessing Songs is over 1,000 views already? Just released it. It's beautiful. Yes, iTunes. Get that Blessings on iTunes right next to Put Your Family First. We got another one we dropping called We Got to Help next month, or as soon as I can get my brother in town. With that being said, welcome to Emmy TV. I am your host, Calvin T. Mann. The T is for timetables, tell the truth, or however else you want to put it. But again, my creative energy is flowing, and I got a lot in me. So today we're talking love. Love, all you need is love. We need some love in this building, and so we're gonna get right to it, jump right into it, and having the conversation about love, because everybody has this theory. Everyone has these thoughts and theories about love, and what is traditional is still the same. Love is still the same. It's just that people do not understand love, right? And what it requires to be loved. And if you don't have no love, you can't get no love. Love draws. Yeah, love draws. I ain't gonna take that too far, but love draws, and it brings it to you. And love is very active in its action, and its understanding, and its love, and its peace, and its tranquil, and its touch, and its talk, and it's vibrant. It's forever. Love is forever. How do you get to forever? Okay, Miss Heather, tell us. Because everybody, we got we really looking forward to that. What you're about to put us through. First of all, listen, amazing work. She does amazing work. Anybody that knows her and she has worked with them, she does amazing work with women, and women must do this work, right? This is women must do this work, but today is about us men and how, what does it look like and for us, right? And the importance of us. Dave popped in the building like Houdini out of nowhere. He just bing.
How we do it.
And we're about to get this show on the road. So again, thank you, Heather. So where are you starting? Because the second half of today's show is a game, right? We're going to play this game with myself. She's running this game with myself, Elle, and Dave. So let's go.
Thank you again. I want to put us in what I'm going to refer to as a space called love.
Yes.
And so the 3 things that I would like for our listeners to leave with today are knowing what you want, whether you're male or female, asking insightful questions, and choosing a love that grows with you. So of everything that we talk about today, I want that to be at the backdrop of our conversations. So I have 3 of my tools with me. The first one is a pre-questionnaire from single mingles that we're organizing. And as you know, that our work is about the restoration of families. And so if you're going to restore families, there at some point you have to go back to the beginning. You have to go back to the basics. And so with this single mingle, it's really a learning series for ready adults, right? Because as we're getting older, we recognize that it may not be in our best interest to grow into our maturity alone. Whether you have children in the past or, you have children currently, at some point they're going to grow up and go on. And as you go into your mature years and those years where you have all the wisdom and the experience to lean back on, you want to have somebody to share that with you. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a space called love that takes you through the end of your days. And I'm actually happy to share that my parents actually almost made 56 years. They were short 10 days of 56 years before my father passed away this year.
Wow.
But what I had an opportunity to see is their love story unfold, and how their love story in their friendships and in their family and in their history unfolded. And so that is how I want to spend my older years, my mature years, my sitting on the back porch with a cup of tea years. I want to have that experience that my parents shared. And so, and I want that for every willing and loving heart that wants to be loved and wants to give love and share it in the space. So what we're going to do today is use 3 of my tools. One is this questionnaire. It's a I'm sharing these forms with the men because we're going to go through. So it's about 20 questions. These are preliminary questions, basic things. But one of the first and most important parts of exploring your love and how you want to share it and who you want to share it with is asking some basic questions. So these are really important questions. However, the level of importance it is to you as you are expanding your openness to a mate or sharing the life with the mate that you have is let's look at these questions and kind of run through. And so what I want you to do, we're not gonna go through all of these questions, but I'm gonna ask some of these questions, and I want you to rate them 1, 2, or 3. 1 meaning that it's very important to you, or 3 is not as important. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to start with number 1. Number 1 says, how important is appearance? Appearance meaning neat, clean, well-groomed. Any thoughts? 1, 2, or 3? How important is that on your scale?
3.
3 is...
That'd be the lesser, right?
Not as important.
Oh, well, 1.
1 is very, very important. 3 is not as important. Okay.
1.
All ones? All ones. Wow.
Well, because you're saying you're not talking about the description of beauty. You're talking about neat, clean, and well-groomed. So a person that maintains their appearance, not by social standards of what's beautiful, unattractive. You're not talking from that perspective, right? Or are you?
We're gonna get to that in number 2.
Okay.
So just initial appearance.
So one would be that. Yeah.
That would be one for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. You said it like it was a shock. That we want somebody standing like Funky Man Nasty or something. You know? Like, what? Like,
Okay,
oh, bring
so-
on the funk.
But that's now. Remember now, that's what you're saying. But I'm sure on your journey, you have made some exceptions
No.
under some conditions.
Not-
Yeah.
I haven't.
You were unaware of them. You discovered.
No,
In the
It may
process.
not have been the
Nope,
first
I've
thing
always
that you
been
saw.
picky. No, I've always been picky.
Okay, always.
When it comes down to, my mother told me right off the top, neat, just like I maintain myself, neat, clean, and appear. Now, as he say, you discover. Now, if I go to your house and you Funky Man Nasty, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
But on the outside, if I'm looking down at your
Yeah,
dogs,
that
and
initial
filthy, or you got filthy fingernails, and your hair, it's not so much groomed like you went to the beauty salon, but it's natted and matted. So
Dum, dum,
then we got problems.
Hit it.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, if that appearance ain't on point,
Yeah.
okay.
But I
I'm
won't
not
expect
even
nothing from
approaching you.
anybody that I don't do myself.
But the appearance also is what you like.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah,
Neat, clean,
It's-
and well
right,
groomed.
right, and it's what I like, right? Because every man has a different preference.
Right.
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 And
Me,
so we're
I
gonna get
don't.
to some
I
of
don't.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Because I don't do weave.
Okay. So number 2
all.
is how important is attractiveness? That would be sex appeal, body type, those kind of things. How important?
2 for me.
2.
yeah, I would say 2.
2.
It used to be 1, but it's 2.
It's 2.
When I was in my 20s, it was a 1.
Yeah.
No exceptions,
No
right?
exceptions.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2.
So why a 2?
Well-
Share your 2.
Well, a 2 means that, each person that I meet, now, everybody know, if they know me, everybody know I like them thick. So thick, by my description, means she could be 140 pounds
Right.
on up. I've had them as big as 300. But I don't look at that part of her because I always know can change.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's all about how she treats me. So some people, when we would go out with my friends back in the older days, we was never no conflict because they would always shoot the bigger girl over to me. So, well, you gonna get what there's big 'em for you, bro. But and I was cool with it because then they see her a year later. They say, "Who is that?" "Oh, that's the girl you call Big'em." Now, yeah, all is well. So I don't get caught up in that. As long as you're well groomed, you're kind and conscientious of who you are as a person, I'm cool with it. So
Yeah.
that's why.
How important is that attractiveness? 2 is attractiveness is a combination. It's
Right.
not just
Yeah.
how she looks and how neat she is. Is what's coming out that mouth. And sometimes they can be deceptive. But 2, I'm rolling with 2. I'm a 2.
Okay. Jay?
I say 2. And that's really because I don't really have a preference on like body size or anything like that. Like I don't have a
Yeah.
preference on skin tone, any of those things. So I mean, I know that can change overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
Who my mom was in her 20s, she wasn't that in her 40s and 50s.
That's
But
right.
my daddy still loved her.
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? And just like she
Right.
still loved him,
That's right.
even though he wasn't slim goody like he was when she met him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That stuff don't matter. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Wow.
Yeah.
Very insightful,
So
gentlemen.
you either gonna work out and keep it funky, or you just gonna be like, I'm good with where I'm at, and I'm good regardless.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna skip down to 4 and 5. Number 4 says spiritual beliefs. And again, we're looking at scale from 1 to 3. Where she is in terms of higher power, respect for nature, universal laws, however you define your spiritual beliefs. How important is that?
Go ahead.
No, you did.
No. One for me. She looked over side. So that's why I responded. One for me, and again, we'll get to that 5. So it's not necessarily the religion aspect, but you have to believe in something bigger than yourself, or you caught up in yourself. So spiritual belief is very important.
Okay.
For me, it's a 1. When I was younger, I'd look past like Elle was talking about, but today, if she can't pray, stay away. Right? If she can't pray, it ain't today. Bottom line, because it's important to me that she has that relationship enough to protect me as well. See, the covering goes two ways. You want me to come home, you better cover me. Right? I want you to come home, I have to cover you. It's not a one-way type of thing, and prayer is very important to me.
Okay. Jay?
And you said we on spiritual beliefs?
We're on just spiritual right now.
Yeah. It's a 1.
It's a 1.
Yeah.
Why a 1?
It's important. My background is spiritual. And it's more important for it to be spiritual as opposed to religious. Not getting caught up in too many of the traditional things, because some of those things lead you astray.
Okay, which brings us to 5, which is a religious preference. Your particular mate may or may not have a religious preference. So remember, when we talk religion, we're talking more than just Christianity,
Right.
Non-denomination, agnostic, atheist.
It's 3,000 religions, baby.
Right. So
Yeah, it's a lot of religions.
So, a religious preference.
Well, my preference is Christianity. But I've dated, man, I was out there, I dated a lot of them because I was searching myself. And again, if I see some commonality, I can deal with it. If I see too much division, then I'm pretty much going to stand down. But for as I'm concerned, I prefer to have Christian because we can be moving in the same direction. When you got a house divided, it's hard to stand. And at some point, that division is going to come up. If you're Buddha and I'm Christian, then we're going to struggle a little bit at some point. I like some of the concepts because they all merge together with some higher power, but at the end of the day, it's just easier. The river will flow much better if it ain't trying to go upstream.
Understood.
It's prayer for me. If you pray to the Lord, right, and you have that relationship, Christian, whatever, right, because God showed them in so many places, man call it religion. And so for me, right, it's really, the preference is that prayer. Words, deeds, and actions. Your prayer must walk with you. So how you pray, how you talk, how you walk is important to the relationship, to your children, to me. I will stand in on the Christianity because that's where I come from. But it's that prayer for me. I found living without a praying woman was very, very degrading. It was tough. It's a tough life to live.
Jay? Religious preference.
I'm in the middle with it.
Okay.
So
a 2?
I grew up in a very, very religious background. You know what I'm saying? My dad was a preacher. My mom was a minister. I went to school for ministry. I went to seminary. I've seen like both sides of the coin. So I'm kind of like in between.
Okay, so you're at a 2? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. You went to what? Boy, you better. This ain't the time. Go ahead.
Right. Let the truth flow.
Was the son of a preacher, man.
Me too, brother.
Okay, so we're on number 6, and I'm going to skip down to number 8. So cultural practices, community involvement, supporting your race, supporting your community, family events. How do we feel about cultural practices?
I'll go with a 2 because, again, these are things that's kind of innate. And if it flows natural for the person, then, obviously it would be great to have somebody like me I'm a community activist. But if she wasn't, it's okay, as long as she support me.
Okay.
Because everybody ain't supposed to stand up in the pulpit. I'm not using that literally, but stand at the podium.
Right, so I'm preaching. Everybody seems like everybody want to preach. I'm preaching today. Right?
You always preaching. No.
That's the truth.
That's the norm.
That's the norm. That's the truth.
That's the norm.
Hey, Dave, I literally interrupt this program to share. Today, I rolled over and I was like, Lord, why are you on my head about this? Right? Because I said years ago, I'm going to grab me a church.
Yeah.
I ain't asking nobody for permission.
Right.
The Lord gave me a vision.
Yeah.
And it was on my head, right? And I'm like, nope. Ain't nope. That can't be it. Right? You know how he is.
All right, Jonah. You can run if you want to.
Anyway, it's for me, it's a 2. It's a 2 and it's a 1.5, right? It's important to have the support, right? So that's that 0.5. It's always important to have the support. What does support look like? I think that's up to us to communicate.
Okay.
Cultural practices. That's probably a 3 for me.
Not that important.
Yeah, not
not a high priority.
Not for my mate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I may be involved, but she doesn't necessarily have to be. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe with Brother Dave, you know, as long as she supported, if she's not trying to keep me from doing what I'm doing, then I'm fine. Because like I do after school programming for kids. If somebody I dated wasn't with that, then I couldn't even see it being, you know. So, but luckily I'm married. My wife loves it. So
Praise God.
I picked the
Praise
right one.
God.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Good answer. Blessings. Okay. Number 8. Parental status. Do you have a child? Do you have children? Stepchildren? No children? This is your mate, potential mate.
She can have children.
How? So give me a number. 1, 2, or 3. That's very important. Not so important.
Well, I like kids. Excuse me. And I'm coming in the door because I'm a daddy anyway. So I'm gonna exercise that anyway, my way. Ain't that right, baby?
well,
Right. I'm gonna exercise that.
I did preach it.
Right. Right, Dad. So
So in other
it's
words, it's a 1 for him.
Yeah, it is, right? It doesn't matter, you know, the kids. I know the limit for me. I'm out the game, so I can't really jump in there like that because I'm no longer in the game. But for me, it would have been, you know, 2, 3 kids. You know what I mean? 4, I would have had to draw the line. You know, I take a couple baby daddies in there, you know, because I can organize those types of things, right? Because I got a couple baby mamas, you know what I mean? So I can organize that process. But important to me is the safety of the children,
Right.
you know, and what the children need to function away from parents. So that, yeah, I mean, that's me though. And I grew up that way. My family, we embrace all children. Pink, orange, beige, Tai Chi, Buddha, Jew.
Me again.
All that. My family embrace that. Everyone's welcome. And the men and the McNeils and the Morgans. So.
Brother Dave, what about you?
So I wanted to go back and ask the question: are we saying is it important for her to already have kids or like kids?
No, have.
So
have
she
them.
has them already. How
If she has them already.
is that okay with me?
Right. 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, well, 1 would be okay. I'm cool with kids. I like kids. You know.
Oh, so important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine love the kids.
Okay.
That's right.
I love the kids, so yeah, it's all good. You got them. I end up being like an only child, so my mother always told me this is a package. When my mother went, I went. So whoever dated her, they was all part of the deal. You know, so I'm good with it.
Okay. Good.
Parental status. It's not as important for me.
Okay.
It never really was. So, which means I could date you whether you had kids or not.
Right.
And kids are always drawn to me. So, I've dated somebody in the past where she had 4. I dated somebody with 6 kids.
Bless you.
Yeah, I had one had 10. Blew me away. Scared me to death.
Yeah,
I
I dated somebody with 6 kids. It was a experience, but it was cool. I'm actually still cool with some of the kids. They follow me online and stuff.
Awesome.
The other lady, she had 4 kids. I'm still connected to all of them. One of them, I did her wedding. Her oldest child, I just did her son's graduation party, year before last.
The power of men.
So I've still stayed connected, you know, because I know how kids can be. Like, they can get attached to you, then, you know, just up
Right.
and just
That's right.
disappearing,
Right.
It's not
right.
good.
you know. So
The power.
luckily though, her kids were already at a age where they
Peace
knew
and love.
what was going on. So it wasn't like
If it didn't work, they didn't like it.
right. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was cool. So it was never like the most important thing.
So yeah, I know you're looking at that time. We're gonna do the survey.
I'm managing it.
All right.
So, but what I want to do is just give a quick review of some of your answers and your responses, so that the women listening in who are in all of the different situations that we just talked about and your reasons why get the benefit of the insight. So, how important is appearance and just being groomed? And so, I used to have a pet peeve until I had to do some self-exploration around how we go out in public, right? You'll see women in rollers or house shoes or pajamas, and they're very comfortable in those spaces. I've never been comfortable in those spaces because the women who raised me,
Right.
you could not go on the front porch if you had rollers in your hair. I mean, they were all about what it meant to be feminine and how important being feminine is, because that was the role that you were given. And there's so much more that goes along with how we look. It also mirrors how we feel, but it also mirrors how we want other people to feel. And I think sometimes we may be, sometimes selfish, and well, I'm just doing it as convenience. You see moms dropping kids off at school, in the market, and they're just like, well, I'm just running out. Well, how does your child feel about seeing you running out in your slippers and your house coat, or your,
Oh yeah, 'cause
or your
jokes
bonnets,
is coming.
or your bonnets?
Oh,
So,
man.
I mean, that is a representation. Even if under the bonnet your hair is properly groomed, when people see you, that's what they see. They see you in a bonnet and pajamas and slippers and unprepared for the day, unprepared to truly be seen at your best. And I think that's really important for women to understand, that men see you. So if you're looking to be somebody's mate, or you're trying to maintain a relationship with a man, it is important that your grooming reflects what you want and what you want to be, but it also reflects the environment that you want to create. So I think those your responses are very well received and heard, and I hope the ladies are listening to that. As we segue into that question about attractiveness and body type and appeal, if grooming is important first, how you present yourself, how you carry yourself, your attitude also is going to it's also going to blend into that idea of what's appealing. It doesn't just have to be sexy or sensual, but it does have to be appealing. And so you want to make sure that you're carrying yourself. Some things we can change about how we look, and some things we can't change, but the appeal is how you carry it all. Just like Dave mentioned that he likes thick women. So, but how that thick woman carries herself is what is going to be appealing to him, not just the fact that she is thick or thin or medium or curvy or not so curvy. That is not the bigger, that's not the bigger appeal, right? The bigger appeal is how you carry yourself. So be mindful of that. Spiritual beliefs and cultural preferences and religious beliefs as well, religious practices and preferences. All of those things are important because it's part of your identity. It's a part of knowing who you are. And what was important, if you will, for the men that were in the studio is knowing who you are, but also being able to submit to a higher power, which also means that you have the ability to submit and share in a relationship with a healthy man. So the relationship between being supportive, if he's involved in events, or if you're involved, having that level of support is really important. Also having a sense of accountability in terms of your spiritual groundedness is really important, because if you don't have that groundedness, that means that you will sway and you will raise your standards and lower your standards in the same breath. And so it is important for you to have those standards and be supportive in what you do. And the other part that we came to was about whether you have children or not. So if you have a child or children and you are a woman seeking a relationship, being healthy and having healthy relationships with your children so that they can have healthy relationships with someone that you may bring into your world is going to be important. So raising healthy children takes both men and women, father figures, fathers and mothers.
We interrupt this program. Kids need both parents. Go back to what you said.
Yes, absolutely. That's really important. So co-parenting, all of those things can be honored by a healthy, mature, and respectful man as well.
Yes.
And so when you're making your choices about who you want to spend time with, you need to vet whether they're healthy, mature men. Because you can't have unhealthy, immature men around your children. That is detrimental to you. That's detrimental to them. So that means somebody who's going to make you choose between them and your child in ways that are not healthy. So there's
right.
timing, there's responsibility that we have to get better at vetting that process for ourselves.
Well, it's so hard, right? And so I'm going to jump in here and say it's so hard, right? When we do the numbers and you do the breakdown, the boy, as I've said on many occasions, the boy is not getting an adequate amount of the dad. The dad then, right, is only a certain amount of time that the boy or the child is getting the adequate amount of the dad. Now, if you're in a two-parent household, they're getting an adequate amount. Even if the dad goes to work and come home, his presence and his rules still factor in. At some point in time, today's dad will have conversation with their children. But for the most part, the male child is not getting enough of the male ingredient or the energy that it needs to grow into these responsibilities. So you have all these things, but as we're constantly discovering, there's not enough for boys. Like, we had a conversation with someone yesterday. He like, they school, all they did was bring girl programs. They didn't have boy programs. But well, holler at us. We got a boy program. We'll come in and you'll have soldiers, right? But the whole point is we have to get more men pouring in, like you and Dave, pouring in so we can help those young men become men, husbands, and fathers. So go ahead.
Thank you. So I do want to use two other tools. So the first one that we just used was our Single Mingle pre-questionnaire. And so as you start to hear more about our Single Mingles, these are some of the conversations that we have, but they're gauged around how to help men and women learn to communicate better, learn to build in that love space. If you say you want to mate and you're ready for it, then take the journey with us. Okay, so just want to put that out there.
Before you start.
Okay.
Right? So this is the segment, right, where we go into, this is the game I was talking about, Bud. Right, and we have to put our thinking caps on, right? Because you're going to hear questions you've never heard before, right? You've never heard these questions before. Okay? So this is going to be fun. So I just want to say that, shout out to Good Fathers Only Encouragement. I'm young and podcasting for collaborating and growing and prospering. So go right ahead, Ms. Miller. Before we do so, 25 ways to love, 25 ways to keep your... Wow, 25 ways to keep your man.
Or regain his love.
Regain his love. Keep your man. Keep your husband. Keep him in, use that prayer. Keep your husband in the house. Do not think the grass is green is on the other side. There are a lot of people divorcing and getting out here and finding out that grass is dirt. So go ahead.
So I do want to encourage you, if you've done your self-work, and so by self-work I mean if you have done some reflective work, if you have looked at some of the challenges and the patterns in your history of relationships and started to heal those things, then you're on the process of being ready for your next step, which is into healthier relationships. So if you're ready, I would advise that you get 25 ways, not just because I'm promoting my own book, but actually because the tools in here work. When I did this book, I had focus groups, and I have spoken with over 100 men that contributed their ideas and thoughts to this book, out of about 500 men in conversation. So this was kind of the compilation of what they said, and that's why it was only 25 ways. They kept saying, it don't take all of that. It don't take all of that. All I need is, and these 25 things were all you need is. And so at the back of the book, however, there are some additional tools that kind of encompass some of the things that they talked about in the questionnaire. So you might want to pick up a copy. The book is on Amazon, and don't get it twisted, because there's also 100 ways to love your woman or regain her love. So
There's always a million ways.
right. So it does take all that for us. So
That man said,
Yeah, only 25 for us.
right, but it takes all of that. It does take it all. Okay, so this is this part of our show today is going to be about these asking insightful questions. So I tabbed some of these questions. They may be a little bit difficult for some of you guys here. So in the book, the survey is broken into different segments that, for example, let me just go through some of those so you'll know what I'm talking about.
I'm like, let's get to it.
Okay. So one group, so the first series of questions is called In Sickness and in Health. The next group is Sex and Its Appeal. The next group is They Had So Many Children They Didn't Know What to Do. The other one is Just Getting Some Z's. A House Is Not a Home. Money, 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 money.
oh, sing it.
And the next time I'm gonna, is the next one. And then Temper, and then Mama, Dada. So
Let's go.
You can get the imprints from from those topics here.
Patient grasshopper, patience.
So this is from In Sickness and in Health. So
First question.
I flagged this question. Based on your mate's or your mate's parents' health, how well do you think that they will age over time in terms of their health, mobility, appearance over the next 30 years? Based on your mate's parents, how well do you think your mate will age over time in terms of mobility, appearance, overall health in the next 30 years?
I think my wife gonna age well. Her mom is 70, just turned 72, and she looks really good for 72. She keeps herself in good shape. She still do everything. So I see the promised land. It's very promising for me or whatever. So so I mean that was something I kind of factored into things when I chose her.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
Men
important.
always do that.
I think
secretly.
it's important when you're choosing a mate to know
Go look at their mom.
their lineage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's going on with their family? Are they dying off early, or are they around? You know what I'm saying? Like my grandmother's about to be 98.
Blessing.
My grandfather lived until he was 80. He was over 80 before he passed. My other grandmother, she was over 80 when she passed. So, yeah.
Blessings. Absolutely.
What?
Dave?
Oh well, I've had two wives, and both of them are aged gracefully, and both of their mothers. Well, one transitioned already. I think she was 86, and she looked amazing, slim. Not that was a factor, but she was slim. She could move. No walkers, no wheelchairs, no crutches. Ate well, could cook like nobody's business. The second wife, same thing. So, and matter of fact, her mother's the first wife actually mother's in Vegas, and she do as much as anybody else. I know she 86, 87 now, because my mother's gonna be 86. She about 87. So yeah, so they look great. They look amazing. My second, both of them actually would be 62. Both of them are 62, and they wouldn't look 60 if you saw them now. You saw them, both of them. They look great. They look amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, they took care of themselves, even with all the stress. Because both have we have special needs children, and then the first wife, her son has sickle cell to the worst way. And our daughter lost her sight when she was having her twins. She's taking care of both of them, but he's in New York. And literally, he lived in the hospital, University of Michigan, when he was up at University of Michigan. He lived in the hospital 3 weeks out the month. He still graduated college and went to New York to get his master's, so she communicated with him. And then her daughter's been taking care of twins. So these are strong women.
God ain't working, boy.
Yeah.
Woo.
Amazing women.
Yes.
Yes.
Clap it up for them.
What?
Your turn.
Yes.
Oh, I'm tight. I mean, I know what I know what I'm rolling with. You know what I mean? I know we good. I mean, on both spectrums, 80, 85, 90 still gonna be popping. very, very active, and you know, and very active. So yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
You ain't looked over there. Check him out yet. Very active.
I'm gonna leave that there.
I think a lot of men, even if they don't tell the woman, they thinking about that already. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if your mom and dad is busted,
Right. It's a good chance.
yeah,
Next question.
You might not be getting chose just because of that.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to do a genealogy because it can go back a few more steps because life circumstances can alter the predestination of somebody who might have lived to be 80, but because they got caught up on drugs or something, I still believe everybody got a number, but still that expedited the process. So something you got to go a step back. Great grand is something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great wisdom. All right. So the next one is sex and its appeal. Okay. I won't go really
So you
deep
asking
with
me
this.
first? Oh,
He got both his hands up, feet up, everything. Yes.
I was like, well, we the married ones, so I mean, I guess we could go ahead and just knock that on out the park real quick.
So with your present schedule and responsibilities, how often can you have sex with your mate? With your present schedule and responsibilities, how often can you have sex with your mate?
At least 4 or 5 times a week.
Is that that's consensus between?
I'm not married.
Well, okay.
But when you were,
when I was married,
Right.
well,
That's fair.
Yeah, there's some circumstances, but I'll say with the first wife every day, I'm a sex addict. So I was diagnosed as I'm serious. I was diagnosed as a sex addict. So I had to work on me. I mean, so it really was a struggle. I know men say that,
Right.
but no, I've been officially diagnosed because the need was high. But I come from 2 parents that was that way. So back to your DNA.
yeah, that DNA.
And
But that's not something you can actually look and see.
Right, that's what I'm
No.
saying.
Right?
So, but
That's
you,
not something
if
you
you
can see, but-
talk, fortunate enough, I come from a family where it may have been taboo for y'all. My family was very open about sex, so I was very aware of this 7, 8 years old. So, we talked about it. I was talking about it in my 69, and I was telling what me and my mom talked about to date. He said, man, I asked where babies come from, and they gave me a whooping. See, so that was never the nature of my family.
Right.
So yeah. So it's more, and that's a whole nother story I'll talk about with men when I do my thing because
Right.
every man says you're almost sex addict. There's addictions are different.
It's a completely different. I think
I
I
love
got.
it, but I'm not an addict.
No, I think I got a couple of, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And and like we talked about it before. I think I had a problem with it, right? But life shifted me. Thank God, the Lord stepped in.
Yeah, he stepped in on
He
me.
stepped in.
I was 50. It was in Iraq. I think I was 50 something in Iraq, and that's when I realized something was wrong.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I came back, talked to the psychiatrist. When I had PTSD, talked to the psychiatrist, we started talking, started looking at my history and blah, blah, blah. So they officially diagnosed me.
Yeah.
I'm not
Awesome.
boasting about that. I'm just...
Oh no, absolutely. No, that you went and got help is
Right.
really what's a blessing too.
Yeah, we're trying to find a balance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it can be 4 to 5 times. Sometimes it can be 8, 9, 10 times.
Right.
It is kind of it's like peaks.
Just enjoy
It's
it.
like peaks
That's
and
right.
valleys. You know.
Right, indeed. Because your stress levels, the responsibilities change and flex along with your life too. So that is something to be.
Yeah, enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? Regardless to what you can do. That's my advice to anyone that have enjoy because that's for you and him. You know?
That's what a Song
Right.
of
And
Solomon coming to play.
it has to.
explain that.
Yes.
The love that y'all share and the expressions that are needed in a relationship with man and woman.
So here's the next follow-up question. How has your mate responded when you tried to communicate what you want from them sexually? response?
My wife is open.
Okay.
Yeah, we have open dialogue about everything.
Was that something you had to work to get to?
That's how we started our relationship off. When we reconnected, because we went to high school together. We've known each other for a long time, but when we reconnected,
Well, that seemed to be the theme.
we were both just at a place where we didn't want to repeat past mistakes or bad choices that we may have made, and you start looking at, well, all right, I done tried this, let me try something different.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I already I stated my intentions with her the first date, like, this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I got a little girl. You know what I'm saying? The situation ain't, 100, but it's workable. You know, she was divorced already, so she was kind of like, she had just kind of like gotten to a place where she was really ready to like settle back down again and started thinking about marriage again, like, because after she got divorced, she was just like,
Right.
So we connected at the right time, and we have been completely transparent. I told her that was like the most important thing for me in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because I had dealt with women in the past, but they weren't fully transparent. And I don't like to be caught off guard with random stuff. I was like, you tell me everything that you need to tell me. If I ask you a question, you need to just be able to tell me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And either I'm going to be cool with it or I ain't. And you need to be okay either way. And it's vice versa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ask me something and you don't like it and you feel like that's enough for you to bounce, I'm going to respect it. But we've got to be completely transparent.
That's right.
And so that's how we started our relationship off, and we decided to make sure that we communicated everything, regardless of how hard it may be or how difficult it may be. So that's how it's been, like, every day.
Awesome. Calvin, do you want to try that question? How has your mate responded when you tried to communicate what you wanted from them sexually?
Very well. We are constantly evolving communication, right? And the communication is very, very important. I find myself in a very comfortable place to share as much as I've ever shared, right? And being truthful with myself was where I started. I knew when I was on the floor, and the only way that I was going to really get to where I had to be honest with myself. And being honest with myself allows me to be honest in my relationship, right? And be open about the things that I want, because sometimes I was just sitting back and, okay, well, you like that? Okay, I'm cool with that. Well, now, no, I like this. And I want to do this, and I like that. And, so my conversation is open, like you were talking about. But I think it comes from an area because this relationship had already established a friendship. And I think a lot of people miss their boat when they don't set a foundation of friendship in a relationship. But maybe that's just me.
Thank you.
I think both of the gentlemen said a mouthful. The foundation of friendship is significant because it gives you an open line of communication. And I don't think, I'm a term guy, so I don't think many people define words they use. They just kind of vicariously live through them, but they don't define them. So if you don't have clarity yourself, how can you express it to somebody else? So I'm having my issues. I like his booklet was being transparent. I'm disclosing even in the church, and sometimes I've shocked people when I say what I say. So, oh, there go Dave again. But I always say my disclosure is so I take the life lesson so that it'll be somebody else's life sentence.
Right.
See, so with that, it's important that I communicate everything to you, so you grasp what you're dealing with. I'll give you a real short scenario. So when me and my second wife were having problems, my need is high, but I'm not one to force anybody. I've never had to ask to do this because of the fact that I like things to flow natural. But so we were having problems. So I shifted from our physical relationship because I guess she couldn't maintain or keep up. And there were a lot of variables to that. But we're in counseling with the pastors. And so she said she's going to tell on me. I'm telling on you. I said, okay, tell on me, you know. So she told me, well, he looking at porn. And so they said, how could you be looking at porn? You know what the Bible say? I said, oh, I know what it say, you know. I said, but I had to make a decision. Now, eventually I was able to grow, but I had to make a decision. Do I go get somebody else? Or do I take care of myself? So, and they said, what you going to do with it? I said, I'm going to do nothing with it. I'm going to keep it unless she shifts to do, because when I got married, I said, look, you're asking me to forsake all others. So if I'm forsaking all others, you have a sense of an obligation, hopefully from your heart, to meet that expectation. I'm reasonable. I have some friends that it's no hands down. No is not even an option. I don't want to be with somebody that don't want to be with me. Even though I have my drive, I don't want to be with somebody that don't want me. I'm stimulated by the passion that you desire me as I desire you. And I'm going to make you feel like you're the finest human being God ever created. And I'm not saying that to boast or nothing. I'm just saying. So I would hope you would do the same, because I forsake all of that. Is deep. When you say there's 2-something billion people in the United States and you're going to forsake all others for this one human being, then you need to be doing what you need to do to keep, if you say 25 ways, if it's 1,000 ways, you figure it out. But I want it from the heart. So it's important for me to express what I need, and then I'm flexible. We all say, now, you stay calm, you stay flexible. I'm flexible. But work with me here, because human beings only going to do so much. Right. Unless your name is Superman, you can jump off that roof and do a pike and then come back down. Then more than likely, you're going to be doing pretty much some basic things, and you'll get a little creative. But we can work with that if you're willing to work. See, relationships, even though it's a sexual relationship, is about work. It's about investment. It's about creativity. You got a mind. I was just telling somebody this, and I'm going to close out on this thought. It fascinates me that a person I'm 63 years old, and you don't know you, and you don't know what you want. When I meet someone, I say, look, I know you know yourself, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know themselves for all the things of their history that has caused them to close off things that are really appealing. And so women get their peak at 40, and no, you start to let go of things that was once locking you down, putting shackles on you, open your mind. So once you do that, you can begin to grow and know you. So I love a woman that knows herself, because that helps for us to be able to have that expansive physical relationship.
We call them walls, right? A man has to scale many walls to get to that little girl that wants to be rescued. Some of us just happen to have a skill to get there, right? But once we get there, sometimes the girl is so fractured that she can't accept being rescued with love. And that's real. Right? And because of the things that you want to, it's natural in her, there's some things that's natural in you. When you use the term forsaking all, right, we find ourselves in that area, and here come, if they don't know themselves, then here come games. And that's what causes a lot of problems. But go ahead, your next question.
So this will be the last one. You know, we could do this for quite some time. Okay, I have a whole book on this. Okay, so I'm going to skip to this question. How would or do you handle maintaining intimacy and an active sex life with children? With children. With children.
Every chance I get. Every room we can. When they go to school, if you go to work, in this case, if you work together, you do what you got to do. But more importantly, you do have to plan it, and you do have to have respect for the person if they're tired. So you got to find that groove. Some of us is early in the morning, some of us is late at night, some of us is 3 o'clock in the morning, some of us is at 5 in the afternoon, right? It just depends on how much play is in the relationship. What is your play like? The kids could be outside. We got 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Right? So it just depends on your play in your relationship as how much you can do that.
Yeah, we love to play. So even there's sometimes when the kids may be there, it may not be enough time, but we can play a little bit. And then when they gone,
You play a lot.
Get it on, Marvin.
You just be like,
get it on.
that was our foreplay, baby. We had a little fun.
Right.
Now let's get to the real thing.
Right.
You know? So, and I mean, our situation is kind of, you know, we had to balance our kids' schedules because they weren't on the same schedule at first when we was dating. So, trying to find those little pockets when neither one was around, you know.
Right. So being creative and timing.
Yep. And then other times we just waited till they fell asleep, closed the door, we lock our door, and you know, if we got to turn some music up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose your time. No question.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's where it's at.
So,
Dave?
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much said it. Creativity. There was a song I used to love by Johnny Brewster called "Do It to the Mind." So if I get in your head first, it ain't too hard to get.
That's the player's rule.
The next step, because you know I'm so in your head. By the time I walk in the door, you standing there in my uniform. Hey. For my love the kids, put them over there.
Yeah. I mean, before the pandemic, when she was working her full-time job, I mean, that's how it was. It just, hey.
Yeah.
Shoot you a little text message.
Right.
Hey,
Well, that's all foreplay. And for me,
and she'd be doing the same thing. She'd be at work.
Yeah.
I get a random text. I'm like, I see where you at.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna slide through on my lunch.
men underestimate the theory of foreplay all day.
I've never underestimated it.
Yeah, that's her requirement. You give that to her. And
that's in 100 ways.
That's in 100
Yeah.
ways.
But I think it goes both
I
ways.
feel like it's a requirement.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Sometimes
I don't
women
have to have it, but I know they have to have it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
But you
So
have to have
the
it.
thrill of the
Right.
I think
the
you have
dialogue.
to have it. Sometimes it's foreplay has so many meanings. So, but I injected. I said you have to have it because in my own men's group, we use terms that sometimes has been passed down, and in reality, when you break them down, you find out they want foreplay too. And sometimes women are reluctant to show that foreplay, to get in the guy's head, to make him feel sexy, make him feel fine, because if you do that, see again, the one way to keep him, I haven't read her book yet, but I'm going to get it, but one way to keep him is to make him feel special. You need to get in his head because you got a lot of competition and he got a lot of competition. The devil is busy.
He on a motorcycle with a leather jacket.
That's right.
We gotta
be ready.
With a 500-pound engine.
That's right.
we got to talk about
And
some
they
of these women need to be taught how to speak something into a man.
That's both
what I'm
ways,
talking about.
men and
Respond to
women.
certain
'Cause
ones,
men think he can just say, "Hey, girl, look at me." Like, well, okay, like men are pretty now. You know what I mean? So they think because they got on this tight ass suit and look a certain way and all of that and all pretty and shit, they think, excuse my language, but they think that's what is it. Yeah, but for some women, but that wife, she want a little more. So we down to 4 minutes. Heather Miller.
All right. So
This was nice. This was great.
I want to leave us with choosing love that you can grow with. So as men are seeking mates, one of the constants that should be flowing in your thoughts and in your actions and your activities is choosing a love that can grow with you. What does that look like and what does that mean for you? So the first line of questions was about knowing what you want. And this again for men and women, but knowing what you want. Then asking questions and listening for the answers. So sometimes we ask questions and we assume we know the answer. We assume we know what you mean. But those meanings are sometimes cultural.
That's right.
The perspective of the answers to those questions may look a lot different on the other side. Like I thought you really enjoyed love making. And she's like, well, yeah, I did then, but now, I already got you, so you should be good once a month,
Hell no.
or you should be good. You should be good with gifting me
Once a month.
You should be good with gifting me something, and in return, I will give you this. So but those are all understanding. Those are all understandings that still come from those initial conversations. So asking those right and insightful questions, meaning that you have to look deeper, inner. inner sight.
Yeah, that's why it was
Right.
for me to be. We had to be transparent about everything.
So
No question is off limits.
So you got the website up there. Ladies, if you want to learn more, go to yourinspiredjourney.com. No question about it. But we're at the point where we come to an understanding about relationships that we seem to think we know, right? And we don't. Sometimes you have to ask the information. Ultimately, the two of you, there are two, must become as one. How does that work if both of you are individuals? So there has to be a merger. There has to be an understanding, and there has to be a certain growth that goes into becoming as one. Remember, men, we are to, coming from the Christianity point of view, love our wives as Christ loved the church. The body is the church. You start with yourself. Love yourself so you can love her better, right? And doing those things and doing the work so she can have a quality lead husband that she can naturally merge with and grow into forever. One thing for sure, if you take a look at our communities, I read somewhere today that in Detroit, you live 5 years less than any other region. I think it's time that we understand that men need women and women need men, and our children need both a husband and a father in a two-parent household. Now, we're not knocking the co-parenting. We're just saying we got to get back into the home so our children and our males and our children and our community can thrive at another level. It takes two to become one. My name is Calvin Mann. God bless you and encourage me. I'm young.
Something is missing. It wasn't about taking, it was all about getting. Back in the days, they really